Death in the physical form is one of the things that's certain about life. And unfortunately, Pope Francis has passed away. So RIP to anybody who transitions from this particular earth realm. But when a prominent figure, somebody who's in that level, passes away, it has the ability to affect markets, which can ultimately affect your wallet or your purse. So that being said, that's what this video is about. And just to see if this is something that could have a negative impact on you, or possibly you can position yourself to have a positive impact on you, not taking advantage of or disregarding what has happened, but it's just the fact of the matter that when these type of events take place, things can happen to shift the market no matter where you are, depending on your situation. So what do I mean? So it's economic ripples that can come from Pope Francis's death, charitable giving, and financial shift that you should not ignore. So FYI, you may not think that the Pope's death has anything to do with your money, but it might just affect charitable donations, legacy planning, the economy, and even crypto. So let's dive into what I mean. So the global impact of the Pope's death. Breaking down, simply put, the Pope isn't just a spiritual leader. He's the head of 1.3 billion person global institution. His passing triggers changes in the Vatican policy, global religious focus, and the tone of Catholic economic priorities. This matters when you consider Catholic institutions are some of the largest landowners, education providers, and employers. So if you look at the trickle down of the things that they have in their warehouse, then it's a great sign that it could be a change of certain times. You just have to know what things could change and how you can adapt and adjust to those changes. And on a bare minimum, just pay attention and be aware in the event that it's something that has a negative impact on you. Whether you're a landowner, whether you're an education provider, or whether you're employed by some of these entities that could be offset due to this event taking place. So let's talk a little bit about faith and finance in the U.S. Well, the U.S. Catholic institution manages billions in endowments, hospitals, schools, and real estate. That's a lot, to say the least. A new pope could shift how these assets are used or redistributed, because usually when somebody passes away, some form of redistribution takes place. Redistribution usually takes place in some way, shape, form, or fashion. Well, what endowments could be affected? What hospitals could be affected? What schools? What real estate? How can certain rules and guidelines and laws even be impacted in this arena? It's important to pay attention to it and see how it can impact you. Now, legacy wealth and charitable giving is something that is definitely a representation of the post life. And charitable giving may increase during this time because, you know, the Catholics are feeling some type of way and they may end up giving more, being more strategic in the way that they give, in the areas that they give. So increased donations in the memory of the Pope Francis are expected. How do they know this? Because this has taken place in previous times when popes have passed away. This area increased. Donations increase in these areas. High net worth donors often give during emotional, significant global events. So this has the ability to impact nonprofits, universities, local church-based organizations. So if you fall into the category of someone who has a nonprofit, does your nonprofit support a cause that they may want to support? Not to try to benefit off the death of someone, but just knowing that if you're a nonprofit, then you are doing it because you want to help or contribute to some cause. Well, in order to contribute at a high level to some cause, money is required. Well, a lot of high net worth donors may be given during this time. And do you have a cause that aligns? If so, they would never know or never be able to give or contribute if you don't make yourself known in that area. So that's something you have to look at. If you have a nonprofit, is there some alignment there? If you're connected to a certain university, could there be some type of trickle down effect that comes from that? Local church-based organization, if you're involved with churches of any kind, how can the impact be recognized from this particular event as well? So like I stated, a lot of times they may want to give more strategically. This may be a golden opportunity for those who have a 501c3. Strategic charitable giving is something that they're looking to do. Keyword strategic, not just giving to anybody just because they have a nonprofit. This has to be a functioning nonprofit that has been doing the work, not just a fly by night. Let me set up a nonprofit real quick to try to get some money. That's not this. Does your nonprofit align, and have you been putting in the work, and now you can position yourself to be a more strategic, charitable organization. So this is what they understand. If you give to a 501c3, in many cases, you can deduct that donation and potentially lower your tax bracket. High net worth individuals and individuals in general should understand the importance of lowering that tax liability. We show people how to lower their tax liability from a business standpoint, even if they operate from their home or the comforts of their phone. But these nonprofit organizations are a way or a vehicle for people to lower their tax liability or even drop a tax bracket by giving to a cause that they believe in strategically. So people may be inspired to give in the honor of the Pope during this time, and they want to make sure they give smart. Just something to pay attention to, especially if you have a nonprofit. So how can the market be affected by this? So for one, it's uncertainty. Sometimes when prominent figures pass away and they understand the connection they had to certain industry, as we already mentioned, real estate, as we already mentioned, universities, endowments, schools, education. Okay, some uncertainty kicks in because now it's like, hold on, what just happened? What do I need to do with my money? What can usually have an effect in this type of event? Well, the global markets react to emotional world events. Sudden shifts in leadership, uncertainty, investors may flee to safe havens. So if it's uncertainty, a lot of times they want to go to something that they feel is more certain. In many cases, the safe havens may be gold, maybe crypto, maybe bonds. And you got to pay attention to what's going on right now because gold, as of today, did hit an all-time high. Bitcoin is back on the rise. And I won't say it's just because of the post passing, but it's some alignment there. And Bitcoin specifically is considering itself to be a safe haven by proof of how it's been able to grow over the years. Are you positioning yourself? Are you getting in position to align what people know as a safe haven for uncertainty? And during this time where it's a lot of economic uncertainty, it's a lot of opportunity for you to position yourself in something like a Bitcoin, a gold. And Bitcoin is one of those things that I feel is more favored because it has so much liquidity in comparison to gold. Many people who say they own gold own it on paper, but not physically. And they have no liquidity. They can't transfer it or send it over or just pull out from it in an instant, as you can with crypto, as you can with Bitcoin. You can do that and have it in your hand, switch it from wallet to wallet, account to account within the same hour, same 30 minutes in most cases. So this creates volatility, but also opportunity. When people are moving their money, that's a transfer of wealth. Okay, it's going from here, it's going to there. You need to position yourself to benefit from the upside that comes from this volatility. Very important. So crypto, gold, and investor reaction. So events like this cause institutional investors to look for safe options, as I mentioned. Bitcoin and gold have historically seen bumps in uncertain times. During times of uncertainty, these things that offset fiat currency or are looked upon as a safer way to store wealth, store value, oftentimes receive a bump during these times. So this is something to keep an eye on to see how they react and consider how emotion fuels volatility. So another thing to think about is legacy planning. Like how are you positioning yourself as a man or a woman to leave a legacy? The Pope spent his life planning for his legacy. So what are some things that we can be doing? Should we be learning about and implementing trust? Absolutely. Living wills, tax-free business structures, because wealth preservation is a real thing and you can do that on any level. Even if you work a job, a 9 to 5, and you don't feel like you're on track to building wealth, there are ways for you to have a tax-free business structure or minimum tax payment that you can use that extra money and apply towards things that help you leave a legacy. It's something that I'm always learning more about time and time again to be that person who positions myself in that arena as well. It's all about learning and then implementing bit by bit. And we've always been a part of a platform that teaches us things on how to legally minimize taxes. Do what's known as income shifting your money back into your pockets from the entities that are taking it from you, whether it's the banks, whether it's high interest, whether it's inflation, all of these entities taking money from you. You have to know how to keep your money. It'll be a link available below if you want to know that platform that positions you to take full control of your own economy so you don't have to worry about the economy. And it's a stepping stone to getting you to that next level. You also want to be thinking in the mindset of passing wealth to children. or community, because some people prefer to say, okay, I'm gonna, put in work and I'm gonna give away a certain amount to the community. Others prefer to say, no, I want to give it into my lineage. I put in the work. I want my lineage to benefit from it. To each his own. Now, this is your opportunity to also prepare. Anytime death happens, is an opportunity to reflect on life and see what things you could be doing to make your life more timeless or more immortal. Meaning that it's certain things that you did and put in place that outlive you. Major key. So what can you do to prepare? So a global moment like this reminds us how quickly things can change. Be ready, stay educated, and position yourself. And like I stated, it's a link below so you can tap into learning how to set foundations on keeping more of your hard-earned money. And then there are levels to it. Some of you may be beyond that level and you will know it. Some of you may need to at least have a starting point that can position you to hit your goals in a timely manner. But the fact of the matter is, certain economic times like this or events like this tend to have a change and can quietly affect your pockets. It's up to you to determine what effect it can likely have and how you need to adjust to those things. This video provided some insight, but it's up for you to apply.